These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
I know who he is as a player, and I know what he's capable of. And part of our job as coaches is maximizing a player's ability to go out every single Sunday and have success. So I feel like that's going to be an advantage for us as we build our system offensively. Make sure we really focus on the things Kirk does well, which I do think are a lot of aspects of playing the position, and help him on a daily basis, connect with his team, lead us, be completely a quieted mind quarterback that can go play because he's talented enough to go do that, and putting him in the best possible situations to have success.
Judd, are you quiet-minded right now?
Yes, I am. Meditation is key to my quiet-minded lifestyle.
You know, I honest to God, I meditate every single night before going to bed. You could call it just like going to bed, I guess. But I get rid of my phone, 5-10 minutes.
You do?
Try to just be in the moment, relax, some deep breaths. And it helps center me at the end of the day.
Close your eyes and or do you focus on something?
Could be either, or you could just kind of stare off into the distance, ceiling. Meditation is good for the soul.
You have to try it. I've never tried it.
I think we should have a special podcast where it's just Judd meditating.
I
read 30 minutes.
I literally read my phone until I get so tired I can't.
It's bad for your eyes.
Stay awake. No, but I pass out then. Why? Because then I get so tired. I'm like, now it's time to sleep.
Do you check your phone immediately in the morning? Yeah. That's definitely not recommended. Either one of those things.
What's the problem?
You're staring at a phone and it keeps you up. It's bad for your eyes.
No. It makes me tired. It puts me to sleep.
It's not good for you.
Yeah, I feel like you need to be more quiet-minded here.
Behind this?
Yeah, there's a lot of great articles. We'll send you some articles.
Yeah, we'll send you the science on it.
Brain tumors, or
it's not opinion. What? No, it's a scientific fact.
Yeah, we'll get you some stuff. Welcome to Feedback Friday, by the way, here on Mackey and Judd, where we turn the entire Friday show into you guys sending us questions, comments, critiques, concerns, whatever it is. You can always hit us up through the Score North app, Twitter, YouTube. We check all different places for comments. Let's all kinds of Viking stuff, as you can imagine, this week. So let's get into this one from David Lindell via the Score North app. Culture, collaborate, communicate must have been uttered 30 times during Kevin O'Connell's press conference. I'm going to stop right there and say that we did the count on this. Collaborate was uttered 10 times. Culture was uttered 14 times. I didn't look up communicate, but connect was uttered 21 times. So that's your official count.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
You connect, you communicate. Cousins. I think that's close.
Yeah. LOL, David says, we have so many great alumni, and Pete Bursich is the one that he gets the most excited about. So David's a little skeptical, about the culture, collaborate, communicate, and then he mentioned the Vikings greats like John Randall, Randall McDaniel, and Pete Bursich.
Yeah,
and I love Pete Bursich. Don't get me wrong, but this is kind of funny. So I don't know. David's a little skeptical, I guess. What are your thoughts?
Okay. There are certain things that people are going to say at their introductory press conference, which, you probably, in fairness, roll your eyes at a bit. I'm a very skeptical guy, as most know. I am not that skeptical about this guy. I think we saw who he is. Yeah. Now my question is that going to work? I have no clue. This very much is like the change, and I am not saying that their personalities are going to be the exact same. But Phil, in a lot of ways, this switch is very much Childress to Les. Les was a smart guy, is incredibly, open to communicating, player friendly, did what the team asked when it came to media, when it came to players, when it came to fans. So, and I know that Les was fired after, I think, 3.5 years, and I know it didn't work. And he was a defensive guy, and O'Connell is an offensive guy. I get all that. But as far as the personalities go, and as far as the difference in going from a gruff guy like Childress, or in this case, Zimmer, to Les or KOC, it's a very similar shift. And look, it's going to be a breath of fresh air. But like, I'm not skeptical about, PJ Fleck has what I would call, and it's probably to a large degree his personality, but I would call it an act. Like he is taking himself and presenting an even different, I think what he perceives should be the expectation, right, of a college coach. Kevin O'Connell, I didn't sense that. I think Kevin O'Connell is a down-to-earth, nice guy who hopefully, for the Vikings' sake, is a really good offensive mind. But I didn't walk away thinking there's a lot of BS there. I think we saw him, which is a positive. So I'm not skeptical. Might not work, but I'm not skeptical of it.
Not only am I not skeptical, I am absolutely all in. I love new age leadership speak, and I think the difference between Kevin O'Connell and PJ Fleck, because they both talk about connecting and collaborating and culture and all those things, but PJ is more of a marketer. He's taking, and I don't think he's disingenuous. I think PJ takes what he believes and just cranks the volume up on the marketing, because in college football you have to recruit players to play for your team.
I agree.
In the NFL, there's a little recruiting, like there's some free agency recruiting, but it's mostly like financial recruiting.
Yeah.
And like they're looking to play for winning teams, but it's very much like even across the board for the most part, in terms of like Alabama and the Gophers aren't equal, but you're in Ohio State and the Gophers aren't equal. Right. You're trying to pull players in, so you have to be a marketer. I thought Kevin was extremely genuine. I thought he was honest. And I think he's going to do a great job of sort of picking up the pieces that Mike Zimmer left. And I don't want this whole thing to turn into a bash Mike Zimmer festival. Mike Zimmer was a winning coach, and Mike Zimmer was right about a lot of things. And we'll get to some of those things throughout Feedback Friday and even on the comments episode of Purple Daily, because there's some good sort of compare contrast questions. But the last couple years of Zimmer really burned out that locker room and the organization. And Kevin seems like the perfect type of temperament and demeanor to come in here and do all the things that he's saying. And culture, collaborate, communicate, connect. Like, it may sound kind of hokey and cheesy, but this is modern leadership. This is how you connect with Gen Z. This is how you connect with millennials. And Mike Zimmer clearly wasn't well-versed in that connection in the last couple of years.
And Mike was the right guy at the right time. I think O'Connell is the same thing. Now the question becomes this: can he coach? Because we can look at the connection aspect, and those things are incredibly important. But once the games start, can you coach? And that becomes the most important thing. And also, I'll say this about coaches, especially pro coaches. I want a coach who is himself. Childress came in as Belichick. That didn't work. So then he went and hung with Dungy. Now I'm going to be Dungy. I don't want that. I want a person, good or bad. And I will give you what I think is a perfect example right now of a guy who's starting to succeed. And he's sort of rough, but he's himself. Chris Finch. Chris Finch is himself.
Yeah.
You could tell there's no BS. There's no attempt to be, I'm going to be Phil Jackson today. And today I'm going to be Pop. Chris Finch is true to who Chris Finch is. And the most important thing is this: Chris Finch can coach. So like the O'Connell thing, as far as did I walk away from that press conference saying I smell a lot of BS? Absolutely not. Does that mean that I automatically think he's going to be a success? We don't know that.
Yeah.
I think that's the fairest thing to say.
Yeah. Let's see here. Chris Miller via the Score North app, and he's referring to the fact that Kevin O'Connell did not mention Danielle Hunter's name at the press conference. He lavishly praised Harrison Smith, and then he brought up Kendricks and Barr and obviously Kirk Cousins. But Phil, I have a question for you. I don't know if this has been brought up or not, but with Andre Patterson, the defensive line coach for the Vikings, going to the Giants, and the Giants having multiple first-round picks, do you think Danielle Hunter could be a fit there? I mean, I'll just say, if The guy's played 7 games in 2 years. He's still in his prime. He's a Hall of Fame caliber player when he's healthy. But there's been some bad blood with the organization about his contract. He's not on the field. If the Giants wanted to solve this conundrum by giving me a first-round pick for Danielle Hunter and take the contract conundrum off of my hands, I would say yes if I were Kwesi. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. Are you kidding? Yes. If I can get a first-round pick, my first choice is not to trade him. But, and we still don't know this, when you're going to switch to a 3-4 base defense, which I know you still play multiple different styles of fronts. But if you're going to switch to that, and the Hunter camp comes in and says, you know what, we're really not into that switch. And I find that I can get a first-round pick with this team right now, I'm running to that trade. Now, if this team, in my opinion, was on the precipice of Super Bowl or bust, then I probably don't. But yeah, anything that I can do, and I don't care if that's Danielle Hunter, I don't care if that's Kirk, anything that I can do right now that could net me a first-round pick, I am taking it, because the options then for trades and for more moves and to potentially solve the QB conundrum becomes greater. I've got more assets to do it. So yes, where the Vikings are right now, I think Kwesi would be nuts not to give a lot of thought and probably make a trade that gets him first-round picks.
Dan Heasley via the Score North app says, I heard a national football personality say Kellen Mond would be the first or second quarterback taken in this year's draft. Everyone keeps saying draft a quarterback this year and get him developed. Couldn't they just develop Mond and use the first-round pick on a different position? What do you guys think?
Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with this, because I believe when these quarterback rankings started coming out for this draft class, that I might have been Sims too, who was very high on Kellen Mond. Chris Sims was, that if he was ranking these quarterbacks, if this quarterback class you took from last year and put it in with this year, that basically Kellen, the top quarterback would still be the 5th quarterback off the board. So who was that? Kenny Pickett. I know this was before Malik Willis's pro day, so that stock maybe has shot up a little bit. But basically, the first 4 quarterbacks that went off the board last year in 2021 would still be consensus above the quarterbacks that are coming into this year. So I'm not ready to give up on Kellen Mond either, and especially when you're starting to bring in some of these guys that are familiar with them, and former Texas A&M guys. I'm curious on the development of them too. I don't think we should just completely wash away what Kellen Mond can't do, even though he basically sat and was inactive for all of last season. I'm curious of his development. There's no reason to just completely punt on him quite yet, even if the odds are against him being a viable starting quarterback in the NFL.
And punting on him right now would be stupid. We have no idea. It's not like he failed. They put him in for 3 plays against the Packers and the head coach bashed him. We have no clue. And to think that
he was pretty bad on those 3 plays, I will say, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he didn't practice really. He had no chance. It's why I said, and Mike was never going to do this, but it's why I said they should have prepared him the whole week for that last game against the Bears and started him to at least put something on film. Yeah. Now they're coming in with practice film, and there's not going to be a ton of that. So yes, I agree that the development of Mond is not just smart. It's absolutely positively necessary. The second thing is, and I know this is rare for me, but on quarterbacks, this is where I'm going to apply trust and say this. No hot take here. You just got a new GM and new coach who was a 3rd-round pick of the Patriots in 2008 and was a quarterback. He just came from a system with Sean McVay, who is a quarterback whisperer. I am going to put, until I'm proven completely wrong, my trust in the fact that these guys can identify and know when the time is right to take a quarterback. So if they look at this draft class and they're like, I don't think so, more power to you. Pass on quarterbacks, because in their opinion, the 2023 QB class far superior. So as a guy who sat here for Phil, the last 3, 4, 5 years and constantly said, in my opinion, Rick Spielman cannot find one. And we went back and forth, but I said, I don't think he can find one. I don't trust him. I am now going to transfer that and put my trust in the fact that you have hired people who I think a main reason why they got the job is to find one. So the second guessing is not going to start until they prove that they can't do it, and they're far from that.
Yeah. A couple thoughts on this. This is a really good question by Dan Heasley. I feel like there's like a 20% chance Mond pans out to be a viable starting quarterback based on third, fourth round pick track records if you're a quarterback. So I wouldn't get too excited about, like, he's always been a lottery ticket. Now, that lottery ticket has a better chance to cash with Kevin O'Connell overseeing his development than Mike Zimmer, and it's not close. So, yes, I will go as far as saying I'm curious to see Mond's development. If I had a chance to draft someone like Malik Willis, who's much more mobile than Kellen Mond, looks like he has a bigger arm, does need some development, but like Malik Willis and Kellen Mond are not on the same planet in terms of upside. So if I had a chance to draft Malik Willis, I would absolutely strongly consider that at 12. But I'm not going to force it. I think where I will agree with this is I'm not going to, if I feel like, I have to trade up 5 spots for a quarterback that's a developmental project and next year's class is better, then okay, let's roll with Kirk or a bridge quarterback not named Kirk, and see if we can develop Mond and then go forward in 2023. The other thing that people do, and this is across all sports, if a rookie doesn't perform right away, or if a prospect in baseball struggles when they get called up to the big leagues for the first time, it's like their stock falls off a cliff.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that they're a failure. It just means that it's going to take some time. And that's kind of how I feel like we got our first taste of Kellen Mond, and he looked totally unprepared in that game against Green Bay.
And he was.
And he was. But it doesn't mean that because he didn't do anything in the first year that now he's a bust. So James 20 Kelly on Twitter says, your boy Judd maybe with the softest block ever. I politely disagreed with him over his Deshaun Watson topic, and the dude blocks me on Twitter. Disagree with you guys on your Vike stuff recently, but that was a soft SAWFT soft move by Judley. He's a daily listener. What are you just on a blocking rampage right now?
No, I'm not really.
Doing, man?
No. In fact,
mute people.
I rarely block. I often mute. The problem was I was at the Wolves game and I answered the question and we went back and forth, and then he kept debating me. And it got to a point where I said, in fact, the block went like this. I said, I didn't want to have to do this. Bang. Bang.
Oh my God. Wow.
Why did you choose the block over the mute in this
because
case?
I felt a lesson needed to be taught. Okay. So a mute is I just can't stand this bozo. A block is, and James, I will unblock you.
Okay.
But if we're going to go back and forth, that's
Lesson
cool.
learned.
But at some point in time, let's stop. Like we can't, I don't have I was at the game trying to watch the game, and I'm trying to respond because I try and respond to tweets. I will happily engage people who want to debate things for the proper reasons.
Yes. You are a master debater. Absolutely.
I love to debate. I am. But you know what I don't want? I don't like, if you just love Kirk, just say, Judd, I love Kirk. And I'll be like, okay, cool. Then I'm just out. But anyway, so James kept pushing it. And this master debater finally said, that's enough. Lesson time. And James, I will unblock you. I appreciate you listening, but at some point in time, we have to stop. Sports Dad has other things to do. He's got to do the taxes. He's got to pay the bills. So that's why.
Okay. What's our tax deadline this year, by the way?
That's a great question.
Is it back to normal?
I think it's back to normal.
Do we still need to pay taxes, or did that get wiped out with COVID?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Wait, so
April 18th. We are exactly 2 months away from tax day.
Okay.
As of this recording.
Sure. Okay.
So you got like 60 days.
So listen,
I usually
James,
wait to the last minute.
So James, Judd's going to unblock you, but listen, Judd's got to do his taxes. Okay. He doesn't have time to go back and forth.
I got my tax forms. So it's James what?
James 20 Kelly on Twitter. James 20.
I got to go find him and unblock him.
Okay. By the way, if you guys are interested in some Division I hockey here this weekend, the St. Thomas men's hockey team is wrapping its home schedule against Lake Superior State. You can check them out. TommySports.com for tickets. Friday and Saturday night are the last 2 home games for St. Thomas hockey. TommySports.com. Also, a shout out to our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company, because they have been helping businesses maximize their potential and minimize risk for over 100 years. They're based in Owatonna, Minnesota, and they just have some of the best resources and most wonderful people to help your business and support your business. Find out more at federatedinsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. Let's see what else we got here on this Feedback Friday. Matt from St. Paul via the Score North app says, I'm higher on, and he's talking about bridge quarterbacks here if they can't come to some sort of contractual agreement with Kirk Cousins. I'm higher on Gardner Minshew than Jameis Winston or Marcus Mariota, because we know what Winston and Mariota are. Minshew may not even have reached his ceiling yet. Why not a bridge quarterback that has some upside and the potential to be more than just a bridge quarterback? Listen, I would not at all be opposed to 1 year of fun with the sword-wielding Gardner Minshew.
At that salary, too? Yeah,
it's
hell
like $1 million, $2 million or something.
Yeah, he'd be a lot cheaper than Jameis and Marcus Mariota.
Yep.
But even Jameis and Mariota are probably going to come in under $10 million just based on like injuries.
Mariota would, I think, for sure. Jameis, I don't know. That's a good question. But yes, I am the bridge QB idea in particular for 2022. I'm all in.
Yeah, and I don't want to spoil any questions here, but I'll throw this one out because I think I hear a lot of people saying, "Well, why can't Cousins be the bridge quarterback?" Well, he could. I mean, he might be. He could be. But if you can get a first or a second round pick for him and get rid of a bunch of that cap, that he's taking up, you could get a draft pick for him, clear some cap space, and then sign a cheaper bridge quarterback. That's why.
But no, he can't be. A bridge quarterback cannot make Kirk's salary. Like, that's the whole thing. I don't understand. We're not debating him as a person. His salary is out of line. It's out of order. He can't be a bridge quarterback. What's the price? So a bridge QB, what's the max that you would consider a bridge QB to make?
I don't care. I don't really, honestly, I'm not hung up on his salary as much if it's been decided that, hey, we're retooling here and just for whatever reason he's going to be the bridge. I'm less concerned about that. But what I'm saying is if my bridge quarterback options are Kirk Cousins and Marcus Mariota, and I know Cousins is better, but that doesn't matter in this discussion. Mariota is capable enough.
Correct.
If I can get a draft pick or two for Cousins,
yes,
it's a no-brainer. So I get a bridge quarterback and I get 2 draft picks, as opposed to just having a bridge quarterback that, to your point, takes up a huge chunk of the salary cap.
I just consider calling Kirk potentially or saying, why can't Kirk be the bridge QB? I consider that like saying, why can't this mansion be the house I stay in until I get a bigger mansion? Like,
some people do live their lives.
Some people do think that way,
but that's an irresponsible way to live your life, and you
not if you're rich.
Not if you got
right, but not if you have. But here's the thing. See, you just hit on the key. But you have a budget. That's what the National Football League does. It creates a budget. You're right. In baseball, I got a mansion, going to get a bigger mansion and a bigger one and a bigger one. But you're exactly right. The NFL, the salary cap is a budget. So, like, to me, a bridge quarterback is a guy that you bring in, see on a relatively short-term and cheaper deal and judge that. With Kirk, I just consider him to be a mansion, and he is siphoning away from my salary cap like that.
Yeah. It's more about, to me, it's less of, like, the money matters. Don't get me wrong. Like, if it's going to help me get a couple 27-year-old free agents on multiple year contracts, but it's the draft picks. If I can get a first round pick for Kirk, that's the most important thing. So Ryan Ranshaw says topic via the Score North app.
Yep.
Seems like every recent big veteran quarterback free agent or trade that pays off usually results in a Super Bowl appearance or a Super Bowl win within the first 3 to 4 years. Stafford in LA, Brady in Tampa, Peyton Manning in Denver, Kurt Warner in Arizona went to a Super Bowl, Breeze in New Orleans. That was 15 years ago. What does this mean for Kirk already entering year 5 that they haven't come anywhere near a Super Bowl? Love the show, Ryan in Iowa. I think it means he's not anywhere near the same level as Tom Brady, Kurt Warner, Drew Brees, and now Matthew Stafford. Like people have, and I've made the mistake too. People have mistakenly put Kirk Cousins in the Matthew Stafford bin for a long time. Folks, there is a reason why Matthew Stafford was the number 1 overall pick 13 years ago, and Kirk fell to the 3rd or 4th round. There's all sorts of, and there's someone DM'd me a video clip today of like just Stafford mic'd up, and just like the way that he communicates with teammates is so different than Kirk. Like it's they're different dudes. So yeah, I mean, he's not Tom Brady, Kurt Warner, Drew Brees, or Matthew Stafford.
And Kirk had his chance. It was called 2018. Like he was brought here specifically to go to a Super Bowl, and the team didn't make the playoffs. And Kirk in a winner-in game in what was then Week 17 against Chicago, basically peed down his pants leg. So like that opportunity was there. You tried. We all give him credit. Good shot. Good try. You didn't make it. So like there's just no comparison. It didn't. I don't understand. Let's move on. It didn't work.
Elliot via YouTube says, why does Judd always wear a Mets hat? Well, you got a North Stars hat on today, but you do
get a lot of flack for your Mets hat. You get a lot of flack for your Mets hat. I see this a lot.
I do indeed. It is an honor from the Odd Couple for our old crowd out there. Oscar Madison, who of course was a sports writer, wore a Mets hat, and that's why. It's an Odd Couple. It's not because I like the Mets. It's an homage to the Odd Couple.
All right. Yeah, people do ask about that. Like, what's up with the Mets hat? It's kind of weird and random. Why. Doesn't seem to make any sense. But there now you have the answer. And then Carl Melkvist via the Score North app says, I recently watched a clip of the overtime win against Carolina that the Vikings had this season, including the infamous video of Kirk and Zimmer yelling at each other and grabbing each other on the sideline. Now that we know more about how the organization was run, does it change how we judge that interaction? I love that question.
I would say yes. I mean, I don't. Were they about to fight? No, they weren't.
I think Zimmer was about to.
I think he was.
And I think there's no question. I think there's no question that was the culmination of the differences between the two and the genuine animosity from both sides there. From both sides.
Yeah, that the first reaction wasn't, oh, I'm celebrating with someone that I love and respect. It was, oh, are we fighting? Oh.
Yeah, and he pushed him away. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just a weird, awkward exchange. Like, Kirk went from like 0 to 60 and just like ramped up his personality, and Zimmer wasn't expecting it. Plus, they don't have great chemistry and they don't like each other, so they've never been on the same page, and that was a great microcosm for their relationship.
It summarized them. Them as a couple.
Yeah. All right. Feedback